How many times will they repackage Epico and Primo before they find out that the fuckers are nothing but a fail? Let's ask the Tootsie Roll Owls, shall we? 1, 2, 3. 3. The answer is 3. Epico and Primo are back as the Shining Stars, and they made their in-ring debut on Raw like we've never seen the assholes before. No, those assholes were around years ago, and the only reason anybody gave a shit about them was because of Rosa Mendez wiggling her hips on the ring apron. Yes. And then something happened to Rosa, so then they repackaged them into Fernando and Pedro. There wasn't Pedro, Graham, unsubscribe. Yeah, whatever it was. And then they put them with the little bully, El Torito. And I thought that was a fun gimmick. I enjoyed it. But they got rid of them. So now, Epico and Primo are back as the Shining Stars of Puerto Rico, as they sniff their fake fucking solid steel flowers that they bring down to ringside, as they beat 2 jobbers. They couldn't even beat a decent team. 2 dudes you've never seen before. But at least they did an epic finishing move. They drilled them with the Eliminator's old finisher. Do you remember Saturn and Cronus from ECW? Yeah, it was a long ass time ago. But they used to do this move called Total Elimination. Joey Styles used to scream it. And Epico and Primo brought it back. So that was cool. And I'm willing to give them a chance. But unfortunately for them, the crowd in North Carolina did not. The dude who sweeps up the ring in between commercial breaks gets a bigger pop than Epico and Primo. Failed it ×2. Their entire segment was cringe. I actually felt bad for them. But what's up, everybody? It's Grim, your future YouTube Wrestling Figures heavyweight champion, coming to you today with my raw reactions for the May 16th, 2016 episode, where we finally got to see Smiley McLaser Tag take the Styles Clash right onto a solid steel chair. I couldn't believe Styles flattened him like that. The episode of Raw starts off with Styles in the ring, and AJ Hairstyles is whining about people saying that he's only using Anderson and Gallows to take the title from Roman. Hey, we wouldn't mind that, would we? Right? Roman Reigns comes out, and he actually cuts a decent promo. Roman hasn't done anything in weeks to make me pissed, in all honesty. You know, I like to roast people here. It's kind of what I do. We have a little fun. But Smiley McLaser Tag has been actually pretty awesome the past couple of weeks. And the Gripster is going to give credit where credit is due. Roman, you've been doing a good job, man. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Reigns cut a decent promo about how he doesn't think AJ Styles is going to be able to beat him one-on-one, and he's going to use the club. Remember the club that you put on your steering wheel back in the 80s? No, he's not going to use a club. AJ Styles is like, fuck you, I'll do it all by myself. I don't need the club to help me win a match. Right? Oh, here comes the Usos, here comes the club, and they're going to have a big tag team matchup later on, and AJ Styles charges at Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns just pops on me. So this sets up the matchup for later on. And the matchup later on is the Usos versus Carl Underpants and Puke Gallows. And the Usos win this matchup. The Usos, along with Roman Reigns. Now called the Bloodline. The Bloodline versus the Club. Okay, cool. We got all these names going on here, right? Okay, so the Usos win the matchup, but then, of course, fighting happens. And we like when fighting happens. And why is fighting happening? Reasons. Reasons of the WWE Championship, which will be on the line at Extreme Rules. And I will be doing my predictions for Extreme Rules on Thursday night right here on this channel. But all of this fighting culminated in that epic move when we seen the Styles Clash delivered to Roman Reigns right on the solid steel chair. And poor old Roman Reigns wasn't even wearing his laser tag vest. He had no protection from the impact of the solid steel. Okay, another segment I want to talk about, which when I first watched it, I thought was pure shit. I was like, oh, this is cringe. This is a cringe carnival. Oh, this is bad. But then, when I said my opinion on Twitter, people were pissed. Fuck you, Graham. This was funny as fuck. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'm just in a bad mood. Heel Wife was being salty with me, and I had a little sand in my vagina. So I went back and watched it. All right, I'm wrong. Graham was wrong. It was funny. It wasn't the worst segment ever, but I still don't think it was their best segment ever. The New Day set up this big refrigerator box with couple little lights taped to it and said that it was the New DeLorean time machine. And they hopped in it to go back to a bygone era, for the feud with the steampunk pricks, the fraud villains, right? All of a sudden, Kofi Kingston jumps out. He's like, yeah, man, it's 2009, man, leave me here. It was my best year, man. Now, first of all, I don't think Kofi was talking with that accent in 2009. I think he dropped that way before that, right? For me, that kind of fell flat because I like Kofi Kingston way better now because New Day rocks. Back then, he was just a singles dude. He won the Intercontinental title and stuff, but he really wasn't like the supreme superstar that he is now, in my opinion. But okay, I get it. It was funny. And then all of a sudden, the fraud villains come out, and they start beating the shit out of the New Day, attacking them, and they threw Xavier Woods right into the solid steel cardboard box, which, again, in my opinion, was a fail. Why would you sell being thrown into a cardboard box? I get it. It's wrestling, but that was bad. Cringe. I don't know. Everybody thought it was funny. I guess, yes, it was amusing. It wasn't the worst New Day segment of all time, as I was complaining like on Twitter. I'll tell you what was cringeworthy, however. It was the Golden Truth. Goldust and R-Truth had some video package looking back at their relationship. Full cringe! Fucking cringe fest. This was bullshit. And then they're having a match against Fandango and Tyler Breeze, which they call Breeze Dango. And the entire internet was like, why would you not call them Febreze? Too stupid! Every person on the internet ever could have figured that out in 2 fucking seconds. But the WWE calls them Breeze Dango because they're dumb. That was bad. And then the matchup was pure shit. R-Truth accidentally took out Goldust, allowing Tyler Sneeze to get the pinfall. And then after the match, Goldust was salty as a pretzel with R-Truth. And R-Truth was just trying to make up for it, saying, we're having growing pains in our tag team. We're going to be better, don't worry. And then the cringe meter went completely off the charts with the Darren Young and Bob Backlund segment because they weren't even in the same room talking to each other. It was scripted lines being bounced back and forth, and it was bad. I thought that the segment sucked. And the whole thing for me is I think Make Darren Young Great Again is like an actual funny bit. It could be great. Make this segment great again, please, because right now it's pure poop. Okay, so the final setup for the matchup at Extreme Rules between Dean Asshole and Chris Glory Hole was the fact that Chris Jericho was naturally salty as a pretzel over the fact that Dean Asshole destroyed his $15,000 coat last week. Jericho's like, I'm pissed and I want my money back, motherfucker! And Dean is like, nope. Instead, I have a little fun for us next week at Extreme Tools. Dun 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 dun. Lowers down the cage, which is not a steel cage. They painted it black, and they wrapped weapons all around the top, and they're calling it the Ambrose Asylum match. The object of the match is not to escape the cage, apparently. The object of the match is to win by using the weapons, apparently. Lethal Lockdown from TNA. Apparently, people were pissed because WWE was acting like this has never been done before, but apparently it's the same thing as Lethal Lockdown in TNA, and I don't know. I still think it's going to be a good match, but a lot of people are like, oh, this is shit. Why? They're trying to give us something new and different, or at least new and different for WWE. Okay? Oh, we've said it before in TNA. Okay, but fine. It's something new and different for WWE. And come on, really? Dean Ambrose with weapons? How can that be bad? Alberto Dorito beat the Great Kalisto in a match, which was dumb, and the only reason that Alberto Dorito won was because Rusev was out there to distract him. But luckily, the finish was not one of those lazy fruit roll-up finishes. Alberto Dorito nailed him with the backstabber, but then Rusev completely fucking annihilates poor little Kalisto, damn near killed the poor little bastard, and people were pissed. Everybody knows that Rusev's gonna win the belt at Extreme Rules, right? Ugh. And it was also odd seeing Alberto Dorito right at ringside with Rusev, almost like they were collaborating, like they might have been part of some group at one point. Why the fuck are these two jerk-offs coming out to the ring together? They're not in the League of Masturbations together anymore, right? At one point, the Dudley Boys go backstage and they're talking to Stephanie McMahon and Shane about how they want to teach Big Cass some Attitude Era lessons. It's PG, right? Okay, so we're going to have Devon Dudley versus Big Cass. And Big Cass comes out and he starts roasting the Dudley Boys like turkeys. First of all, 90s reference, calling Devon Steve Urkel. And people were pissed because they're like, who the fuck is Steve Urkel? He's this character from a sitcom in the 90s. You know, you have to be 100 years old like myself to know these things. Second of all, he's going, why are you roasting stuttering people, Big Cass? I mean, you know, it takes a lot to offend me, but I think that certain people on the internet were pissed about him making fun of stutterers. I don't know. But I like Big Cass, and he kicked all kinds of ass when he ended Devon Dudley with the Easy Street River Crossing, whatever the hell he calls it. It's not the discriminator. It's not my move. It's sort of similar, but it's really not. It's a lot different, but it was a cool match. I like watching Big Cass kick some ass. And speaking of kicking ass, one of the first matches on the show, because we're bouncing back to the beginning here, we got to see Sami Zayn versus Cesaro. And who was sitting at ringside but the Jizz with Maurice and Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens is just sitting there with zero interest in this motherfucking match. Which is bullshit, because it was probably one of the best matches of the night. People were pissed, right? So Kevin Owens is sitting there, and he's like, hey, everybody in this match, go fuck yourselves! He gets up to leave, and he tries to take the Miz's title, which was funny as fuck. They start brawling, they start beating the shit out of each other, rolling into the ring, and there's a big brawl, and it turned into a Donnybrook, and then Stephanie and Shane turned it into a tag team match. It was an odd couple tag team match because you had Cesaro teaming up with The Miz to go up against Owens and Sami Zayn. They fucking hate each other. This is not gonna work, right? Of course it didn't work. We got to see Sami Zayn pin the Jizz right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. And they won the match, and it was a pretty badass match. And that brings me to the last segment of the show, which I couldn't believe was the last segment of the show. Contract signing for the Women's Championship? Charlotte and Natalya. And Ric Flair was there, and he was pissed because they put this provision in the contract that if he comes down to the ringside at Extreme Rules, that's it, Charlotte loses the belt. He was fucking pissed, and he went ape shit. He starts flipping the fuck out. And Shane McMahon is like, look, man, I have respect for you. And he's like, woo, fuck you. He didn't say that, but it would have been fucking funny as hell if he did. That's pretty much what he wanted to say. Woo, fuck you. Ric Flair goes ape shit, and of course, contract signing ends in a brawl. Natalya locks the sharpshooter right onto Charlotte. Charlotte goes running out of there, and Natalya's got the title, and that's how Raw ends. Which surprised the piss out of me to end the show with the women's match build-up. But Grim, you forgot to talk about Becky Lynch versus Dana Brooke. Because, yeah, nobody cared. She had some cringeworthy backstage segment with some dudes, and then she fought Becky Lynch, and then she beat Becky Lynch, and Emma wasn't there because poor old Emma is injured, which sucks because they were just giving her a push on the main roster. So now what's Dana Brooke gonna do with those big boobs all by herself? I guess beat Becky Lynch. So let me know what you thought of the show in the comments below. I'd like to know your thoughts on the show because I didn't think that it was such a great episode. I thought it was sort of lackluster, especially going into a pay-per-view. But like, you know, half of Twitter is like, this show sucked. It was pure shit. And the other half is like, I was a really good Raw. I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, well, what is it? I mean, I guess it's all personal preference. I thought there was a couple good segments. And I thought there was a couple of shit segments. So, let me know. I want to know what you thought of the show. Thank you guys for watching my Raw reactions. And please like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe for more. Group out.